Welcome to the monsoon studio selection process for the monsoon 21. The agenda for today is we'll have the welcome note by Professor Pradeep Surut, who's the provost, followed by addresses by the team. You would have Professor Anjali Yagnik, Professor Anand Bhele, Dr. Anand Shah, Dr. Mona Iyer. So now may I request Professor Pradeep to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Anjali. Good morning. Wonderful to have you here. Here meaning God knows what here means anymore. Those of you who follow news about books would know that there's been much excitement in the last 5 days, 6 days, about a little autobiography that Amartya Sen wrote. It's called At Home in the World. And it brought back to me the first work that he did, which was called The Choice of Techniques. And it's an amazing work written at the age of 22 at Cambridge while he was at Trinity on very technical aspect of economics. And it has some bearing on what we are going to do, which was called The Choice of Techniques. It asked a very simple question, a very technical question in economics as to how societies choose allocation of resources, choose technologies to employ, the combination of labor and capital, which is a classic problem in resource allocation. And the received wisdom in economics was still about 1950s when he wrote this, is that all economies and all firms and all institutions, organizations tend to be risk averse. You don't wish to take risks. But if you want growth, if you want more than normal economic development, you have to take risk. The idea would have been, if you are risk averse, you stay with the same technology. In fact, employ only second-hand machines because they've been tried and tested. Combine them with greater and greater amount of labor through which you begin to produce at reasonable rates of production. But those societies and institutions and organizations which are able to make choices, informed choices, about evaluating circumstances within which they find themselves, about the resource constraints that they might have, and choose a technique of production, are likely to actually create a growth curve which is more than normal growth curves. And that's what we are trying to do here. We could have, we have taken a strategy collectively, deliberately, which is not entirely risk averse, nor does it actually take us to dangerous waters. Because we are still in the midst of the pandemic. We can continue to debate whether the wave 2 is over and wave 3 is looming over us. Those are not for us to decide, but the fact remains that in large parts of the country, we still see disease, devastation, loss. And at the same time, we have also understood that being cooped up in our zones of comfort, zones of sanitized environments is not a strategy that all of us or the entire society can follow. So what we've decided to do really is to play with available data, our experience of the last year and a half, to come up with a strategy which allows us to minimize risk, at the same time take some bold measures. And that really is what this semester promises to be. What we hope to do and what we've decided to do, that so long as things remain as they are, and that's an assumption, which all projections need to make, that all things being equal, what we are trying to do is to open up the campus for students, for faculty, for all of us, so that an environment of learning that we are all familiar with could actually be regained. In order to do this, we have created a strategy by which those of you who feel comfortable, those of you who have parental consent, those of you feel not too petrified by the fact that your friends, um, your colleagues, your teachers could be the carriers of doom, are welcomed on campus. We are very happy that a large number of you have chosen the option of, of coming to campus for certain number of hours, certain number of days per week. Faculty and staff have been on campus for some time now. Chirayu, Anita ma'am, Mr. Mehta, the accounts team, and I have been here almost throughout the last year and a half, except when we were required by law not to be here, or when sanity forced us to stay home and rather be on campus. And our experience has not been too troublesome. So we hope that as we open up and as you come to campus, your experience is not that of grief, not that of trouble, not that of disease, in which all of you must contribute and all of us have to contribute. We've learned lessons, and we hope that we don't forget those too soon. There would be a certain amount of sociability on campus, which is nice, which is what the campus is meant to be. You would want to be with your friends, which is a purpose of being on an educational campus, that you would want to hold hands, which is what everybody should do, not just the young, but even those who were once young should be able to hold hands and feel confident about friendship, love, affection, desire, whatever that may be. So we will do all of that, and you will do all of that. But let's try and do it in such a way that we don't create a situation for ourselves, not of our own making, that we are forced to either reconsider our decisions. We might have to do that if the situation were to change or the government guidelines were to change, but we will come to that when we have to face it. Right now, I think it's Ahmedabad is looking more livable than ever, at least in the last 3 days. It's not going to last very much, but even 3 days of pleasant weather is something that makes one cheerful. So one is feeling cheerful. One is also feeling cheerful because there are a lot of people back on campus. The corners that Chirayu and I had created, we are going to be displaced from there very soon. And that also is a cause of a certain anxiety, but we shall deal with it. So, but it's wonderful that, a lot of people are back on campus. We know that it's been a hard time for all of us. Many of us have suffered death, have witnessed death, disease. We have been primary caregivers in some cases. We've been afflicted by this virus in some cases. Or we know people who have been deeply, deeply grieved by loss and suffering. But we have dealt with this as human beings are capable of dealing with it. I know that many of you have experienced personal loss or know people who have experienced personal loss. And we shall, being together with friends, with colleagues, would allow us to overcome a measure of our grief. The only way human beings overcome grief is by being in company of those who empathize with us, who are affectionate to us. And I think this is also a process of healing that all of us require. Sometimes the comfort of strangers is also a very nice comfort, not just the comfort of friends. So, I think this would have many positives. So welcome back on campus. With a rider, let's try and be safe. Let's not endanger ourselves or our colleagues. There is no bravery here to be attained. Uh, there's only an exhibition of stupidity uh, um, if we are negligent. So let's try and be vigilant. Uh, at the same time, not frightened. Fright does not help. Caution does. Fright does not. So we will, we've lived with this for a year and a half, and we're now trying to come back. It will be a slow process, but we hope that with the kind of preparation that all the deans, program chairs, faculties, and my colleagues have put together, we hope that this would actually be something that we can gradually begin to feel comfortable about, gradually begin to trust the institutional processes of keeping us safe. It's also a time to make a choice for some of you, or for all of you, for courses. And the only thing that one needs to say is that it's a privilege to be able to choose, make any choice. And we've learned in the last year and a half in a very stark way that sometimes we don't have a choice. And it is that absence of choice that has created a large amount of unease, of anxiety in us. But we are back to a situation where we can make choices in a small measure about choosing a studio, about wishing to be a part of a certain cohort. Uh, so exercise that choice. As they say, choose wisely. Um, it's a choice that one has to live with. Uh, so do so. Um, and when we make choices, and when we make choices as a collectivity, sometimes not everyone is happy with the choice that they land up with. We don't always get what we want. So there would be certain negotiation that would happen, but that's a part of the choice making process that we all have to learn to deal with. I leave that to the deans to really expand on what they hope to achieve this semester, how they've thought of the pedagogic process. I don't wish to perform the roles of the deans because they are extremely um, in tune with what is to happen, what has gone on. What one can say is that there were people who were very excited to begin with when the lockdown happened, that we would probably have a large paradigm shift in the way we conduct our education, that this distant mode of learning is something that we would all acquire. The learning of the last year and a half has been mixed. Uh, what While we've tried to do the best that we can using the technology, uh, we've learned one thing, that there is no way one can simulate life on campus. There is no way to simulate what happens informally in and outside of a classroom, what happens between batches, uh, what happens as peer learning, and what one learns from friendships. And that's something that we've all understood creates a certain kind of anxiety, a solitude which is bordering on loneliness. And we hope that we can actually overcome all of that uh, in this semester and going forward. So I wish you all the very best. To all the tutors, I repeatedly say how grateful one is for what you've done in the year and a half and what you continue to do. What we have managed to do in the last 3 semesters is a large measure of your capacity to adapt to change, your ever willingness to innovate and give time and energy and ability beyond measure to the students that you teach. So I am deeply, deeply grateful to the tutors who are with us or who have been with us. So thank you very much. Stay safe, reach out for anything that you need to anyone on campus. Chirayu and Anita ma'am will as things open up, we'll put out notices as to who do we contact for what. So, but do reach out for any help that you might need, for any support that you might need, or any anxieties that you think needs alleviating, both at the level of an individual or at the level of a collectivity. So thank you very much. Godspeed. Come back and let's get a party going. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep. Professor Anjali,
Sure. Shall I start, Anjali?
yes, please.
Yeah, okay. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the start of the 21-22 academic year. For the new tutors and new students, my name is Anjali Yagnik, and I am the current Dean of the Faculty of Architecture at CET. So I hope all of you have had a chance to refresh and rejuvenate yourselves over the course of the summer, and that you have come back ready to deep dive into your studio, mandatory, and elective courses in the monsoon 2021 semester. And before anything else, thank you to all the tutors and the students for the really good work that many of you have done in the last spring 2021 semester. So once again, this year, this semester, the registration and selection of studios and elective courses is online, as it has been for the last 2 semesters. So I hope that most of you are familiar with this process now, and that there is no anxiety about it anymore as it was the first time. So now coming to the nitty-gritties of things, with respect to the selection of vertical studios at L2 and L3 levels in the Faculty of Architecture, the information for monsoon 2021 is as follows. So level 2 studios, there are about 185 of you, and you have 12 design studios from which you can select a studio that aligns with your particular area of interest. 2 of these are single tutor studios, and the remaining 10 are dual tutor studios. Similarly, for the L3 students, you're about 115 L3 students. You have a choice of 10 studios in monsoon 2021. 3 of these are single tutor studios, and the remaining 7 are dual tutor studios. Many of our L3 students, almost 35, have opted for internship this semester. And about 14 of them have chosen now to work on the directed research projects. So just as a, as a note of advice, since this is a choice-based system of selection of studios and electives for both students and tutors, your academic performance in previous semesters and your portfolios will play a significant role in guaranteeing you your choice of studio, So it is important to bear this in mind as you go through your academic career at CET, in order to open up better opportunities for yourselves so that you really get to choose what you want to do. Now, with respect to our postgraduate students in the Faculty of Architecture, they are enrolled in 4 different master's programs, namely the Masters in Architectural Design, or the MAD program, Masters in Landscape Architecture, Masters in Conservation and Regeneration, and Masters in Architectural History and Research. So in the MAD program, first semester students, 36 of you now that we have increased the intake, will register for the foundation studio. And third semester students have a choice of 2 studios from which they can opt for their preferred studio. Similarly, in the MLA program, the first semester students will register for the foundation studio, and third semester students can choose between 2 studios according to their preference. Students in both the MCR or conservation program and in the MAHR or architectural history program will register for the foundation studio in their first semester and for the studio on offer in their third semester. And finally, you know, as I have mentioned previously also in various addresses, please remember that what you take away from your academic experience, academic and social and all of those experiences at CEPT, will depend to a great extent to the levels of interest, enthusiasm, and hard work that you bring to the table. So that, you know, there doesn't appear to be any shortcut to hard work. And most of you have exhibited that you are absolutely capable of this. So that's it from me. So do attend the Q&A sessions that follow this gathering. So I wish all of you well and hope that you get the studios and elective courses that you want. And most of all, as Tridip was mentioning, in the particular circumstances that we find ourselves, stay safe and healthy. And I think, you know, I'm an alumna of CEPT. I was here from 74 to 80. And the campus life and the character of the campus, these are things that we still are nostalgic about and which holds us together, you know, as alumni. So I hope you get, I hope the campus is able to come back to some semblance of what the CEPT campus normally is. So that's it. All the best for this semester. And I hope the registration process and selection of studios and everything goes smoothly, as I'm sure it will. And thank you.
Thank you, Professor Anjali. May I invite Professor Anand Bhele, Dean, Faculty of Design, to address. Yeah.
Thank you, Anjali. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to campus at CEPT. We have all faced the online challenges in the last 1.5 years, and I would like to especially thank my faculty colleagues, the TAs, and the students who have given us the continuous support since last 1.5 years, without which the last 3 semesters would not have been possible. Thank you again. Thank you, Tridip, Chirayu, Anita Ben, Mehta Sahib, and the entire staff who have kept the campus going and have been holding the fort. It's time that we support you guys physically on campus now to take this forward. Thank you. We have several BDes, BID, MID, MDes in furniture design, MDes in building products, and Masters in Interior Design programs. Last week, Rishabh and me and other coordinators have in detail had a session with the Faculty of Design students and explained to them all about the courses and the do's and don'ts and the days they are supposed to be on campus and the logic behind that and all that. So I am not going to repeat all that here. I would just like to welcome you all. I'm very happy to have you here, and with that I'm going to end my short. Thank you so much.
Thank you. May I now invite Dr. Anil Shah, Dean of Faculty of Technology.
Thank you, Anjali. Good morning, dear students and colleagues. I welcome you all for Monsoon 21 semester. As my colleagues have already mentioned, we are delighted to have you back on campus. And soon this silent zone will be changing into vibrant space, buzzing with chattering and mingling with long lost friends. Having seen 600 plus participants here already have started giving us a very good feeling that good days are going to be back again soon. I'm sure all of us would feel like homecoming after a long break. Introducing the studios for Monsoon 21, if I go into the specifics, we have about 12 studios offered on the Faculty of Technology. 6 studios are offered at level 2 and 6 studios are offered at level 3 for about 140 students in total. These studios are offered in diverse areas constituting environment and build technologies. I would not go into specifics, but I would like to share that this is for the first time that we are going with 6 new level 3 studios. This is the largest number we had since last 2 years, 1.5 years probably. And we have 14 new tutors. I would like to welcome all new tutors who are taking the studios at Faculty of Technology for the first time. We have studios in designing spaces in steel and concrete. We have studios related to deployable structures, planning and design of road infrastructure in hilly region. This time we have a studio on exploring indigenous construction techniques and reinterpreting them in modern contexts. We have a studio this time at level 2 studio that is offered in geotechnical engineering, which is again for the first time. With the 6 level 3 studios, it was a challenge to design all these studios considering various areas and getting people from having various expertise. But I'm sure you all are going to enjoy that because it's related to infrastructure, it's related to structural engineering, it's related to MEPF services, engineering sustainability, something related to construction management, and of course waste management as well. And so we have a pool of different areas and different good people coming in, interested in teaching. So these studios are finalized considering the basic objectives of analyzing and designing, constructing and specifying and tackling complex engineering problems. Most of these studios have a collaborative model of tutors wherein architect and engineers are working together, and that adds rigor to viewing the problems through different perspectives. And this team pushes the students to think and rethink on unique design solutions and then work on establishing the viability in designing and constructing the same. Let us all join our hands and make this as a big success, because at Faculty of Technology, I think this is a challenge for us this time because we just had one cycle of on-campus studios, and later on we had to work under lockdown completely. So all 3 cycles were almost online. So this is once again, we are very happy having you all here. I welcome all the new tutors on board. I welcome all the students on board. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you, Anna. May I now invite Dr. Mona Iyer. She's the Dean of Faculty of Planning Practice.
Thank you, Anjali. A very good morning to all the colleagues and students, and a big thank you to all the tutors and students again to keep pace with and keep adapting to this online situation in an hectic now, almost the third semester. So big thank you to all of you. At Faculty of Planning, we have L2 and L3 studios being offered for Bachelor of Urban Design program. We have about 101 students who would go in for studios, both L2 and L3 put together. About 25 of them have, besides 101, about 25 have opted for internships, and we are very glad that they could make it for internships even in online mode. About 8 of them would take up PRPs. So if we talk about these 101 students, we have about 9 studios on offer, of which 6 are L2 studios and 3 are L3 studios. In the L2 studios, the 6 studios could be, they offer a variety of kind in the sense that we have 2 studios which are about urbanism. One is on housing and other is on food production. We have a bunch of 2 studios which focus on public place, one from the gender perspective and other from post-COVID public spaces. And the third set is about constructing and specifying, where we have transit design, street design, and light infrastructure, which is all other services which run a city. So that makes the L2 studio with about 67 students, 5 dual tutor units, and about 12 tutors joining in for L2 studio. For the L3 studio, we have a sort of a progression. If students wish to take that progression, or if they wish to diversify, they can. So again, in L3, we have 2 categories of studio, one which is on ecology and urbanism, and the second set which is on policy and impact of policies on urban spaces. So it takes a bit on students on a bit of higher level thinking in urban spaces. And so these are the studios on offer, 3 L3 studios, about 34 to 35 students expected to join that, and 1 dual tutor unit there. So that's broadly about the studios that we are doing. I think TLC has put up a lot of information and very comprehensive information there. We are sharing some information here, but there is already a very good platform that students have created over the last few years. The Bachelor of Urban Design students, they've created a platform called Urban Powwow, where they regularly meet their batchmates. They talk about their internship experiences, thesis experiences, studio experiences, and their own filters to select the studios. They have their city tales discussions there. And so I'm sure some of discussions would have happened there as well. And this time we have the first batch of Bachelor of Urban Design, which is getting into its final semester. So that's which has gone out of the final semester. Rather, they have graduated. They will convocate in January. So that's a very humbling feeling to have the first batch of its kind program, Bachelor of Urban Design. So big congratulations to all the faculty members who mentored them. And lastly, I think since the time we started this session, we heard about the word anxiety so many times. And, incidentally, this morning, I was reading in Times of India, the Speaking Tree also talked about the same thing. It was about a dose of emotional vaccination that we all need to put to rest all kinds of anxieties that we have. And I'm just thinking that if we open up slowly and if things stay as desired, then this will serve the purpose of the emotional vaccination that we all need to feel each other, to talk to each other. And so I think we hope that collectively, to a great extent, we can also collectively keep it as safe as possible. So let's stay safe and look forward to meeting you all on campus. Thank you so much. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you, Mona. I now invite Professor Chirayu Bhatt, Deputy Provost for Academics, to give the note of thanks.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. I think it is fantastic to see all of you here, and all the students, all the new tutors, deans, faculty members. It's great to be part of this feeling to, start this new semester. So I'm thankful to all of you for joining us and participating in this and sharing this optimism of looking forward to meeting once again very soon. Once again, I will just reiterate what Professor Tridip said in the beginning, that we are going forward with an element of risk. We need to minimize that. And for that, we need to exercise caution along with the optimism that we have of meeting each other. So on that note, thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Please join into the specific faculty level discussions for the studios, ask your questions, get them clarified. If you have any other questions or clarifications that you seek, you can contact your program chairs, the TLC, myself, Anita Ben. We are all here to help smoothen this process of coming back to campus, and look forward to seeing all of you once again. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Now we can start I think the portal will be open for filling in the priorities, and you have a question answer session. Thank you.